This is Alexandra Villarroel Abrego and you are watching another episode of A.V.A. Wednesday. Today's question comes from a viewer who would rather remain anonymous, so we will respect that. Now let's go on to the question. The viewer writes, "Dear Alexandra, I am writing to you from Houston, Texas. My best friend is in what I believe a potentially abusive relationship. Her boyfriend is very controlling and possessive. He yells at her all the time and puts her down very often. It is hard for me to see her in this position. She doesn't want to realize that he is not right for her, and at this point, I don't know what to do to help her realize that her relationship is not as great as she thinks it is. Could you please make a video about this? She watches your videos all the time and she really admires you. I know that coming from you, it might open her eyes. Thank you so much, and I hope you get this message." Well, thank you to you for writing in, and I really congratulate you and commend you on being such a great friend. I know that you want to help her, and I know that right now you probably feel like you don't know what else to do to help her. It is very possible that you've already tried to talk to her, you tried to explain to her how the situation is and how you see it and how she doesn't really see it. The thing that you have to understand though is that being an abused woman, being in an abusive relationship, is kind of like being an alcoholic or being a drug addict. Statistics show that it takes a woman 7 to 9 times to leave an abusive relationship. So it is very normal if that your friend is still kind of addicted, if we can say it like that, to her abusive relationship. So you know, for an addict, just like for an abused woman, you can't just sit there and tell them how bad it is for them and how they should get out of that relationship and how they should just leave, because the truth is that she probably already knows that. It's just that she hasn't found the strength deep inside of her to leave that relationship and to really know her worth. I really think that it all comes down to knowing your worth. So right now the big problem with your friend is that she doesn't know what her worth is. Now today's video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to name a few of the signs, if we can say like that, of a potentially abusive relationship. Like that, it's not only going to help your friend but also other women who are in a situation where they kind of know that there's something wrong with their relationship, but maybe they still haven't realized that, okay, I am in an abusive relationship and maybe it is time for me to leave. So let's begin. The number one sign that you are in a potentially abusive relationship is that your partner is constantly putting you down, is always insulting you, always humiliating you in front of people, always telling you how you can do this and you can't do that, and that you're too dumb to accomplish this dream that you have, that you will never be able to have the career that you want. Whatever it is, your partner is not supportive of you and your dreams, and is always taking any opportunity that he could or she could have to put you down. What you have to understand is that the beginnings really of an abusive relationship start by that. A lot of people, when they think of a violent relationship, an abusive relationship, they think that the person is being beaten, they think that their partner is hitting them or whatever. But really, violence, it has many different forms. It can be both physically, it can be emotionally, it can be sexually. There's so many different types of abuse. So you have to understand that if your partner insults you, puts you down, makes you feel bad about yourself, that is being in an abusive relationship. Another sign that you are in a potentially abusive relationship, and this one is the earliest sign, if we can call it like that. This is the sign that you actually start to notice at the beginning stages of abuse. It's when your partner is controlling, possessive, and excessively jealous. Now, I want you all, of course, to understand that when it comes to jealousy, everyone can feel jealous from time to time. But when it comes to being excessively jealous to the point where your partner doesn't let you talk to people of the opposite sex, where your partner is constantly controlling you, telling you how to dress, telling you who to talk to, telling you that you shouldn't see your friends and family, when your partner is very possessive and only wants you for himself and herself, that is a sign of a potentially abusive relationship. And you have to be very careful with this one, because like I said, this is the earliest sign. This is how it really all starts. Another sign that you are in a potentially abusive relationship is when there are manifestations of violence. What does that mean? If, let's say, you're having an argument with your partner and he or she gets so mad that he or she starts punching the wall and makes a hole in the wall, that is a manifestation of violence. What does this show? It shows that your partner doesn't know how to control his or her emotions. your partner doesn't know how to control his or her anger. What this can cause is that eventually your partner, instead of punching the wall, he might punch you. So you really have to be careful with this. It doesn't mean that your partner will for sure eventually punch you and your partner will for sure eventually become this very violent person. It just means that your partner has to really learn how to control his or her anger so that eventually it doesn't turn into an abusive relationship. So this one, you have to be very, very careful with this. Another sign that you might be in a potentially abusive relationship is when your partner has witnessed violence during his or her childhood. Now, this is a very delicate one because, of course, it doesn't mean that if someone has witnessed any sort of violence during his or her childhood that they will eventually become violent. That's not how it works. But researchers do show that a person who has witnessed violence during his or her childhood is more likely to later on become violent or allow violence to be inflicted upon them. So you really have to be careful with this. If you are in a relationship with someone who you know has had a violent childhood, so have been in a violent environment, you have to make sure that your partner has been healed from it and that they have really put that in the past and that they have learned from it. You have to really, really make sure, because if not, that person will eventually, and once again, it's not for sure, but researchers do show that they will eventually become the abuser or they will become the abusee. So you have to be very careful with this. And finally, the last sign, but definitely not the least, is your intuition. And this is so big and so important, but a lot of people are going to completely disregard it. Your intuition is that little voice inside of you that's telling you when things are not quite right. That little voice that tells you there's something wrong here. Something is not quite right about this relationship, or even about my partner, about this person. It is very, very important that you always listen to your intuition and listen to what it's telling you. It's really your wise self speaking to you. So make sure that you always listen to it. So I hope that this video helped all of the women and men who are watching to realize if you are maybe right now in a violent and potentially violent relationship. Statistics show that young women are most likely to be in violent relationships, and that 1 out of 4 young women will eventually be at some point of their life in a violent relationship. So if you feel like right now you are alone and you don't know what to do, and you feel like maybe it's your fault that you're in a violent relationship, well, you have to know that it is not your fault, that you're not alone, and that you're strong enough to make it through and to get out of that relationship, because there's always a way out. If you like, down in the description below, there's going to be a few links where you can get some support, some help if you are right now in a violent and abusive relationship, because there is always a lot of help out there and a lot of people who have been like in situations where you are right now and who can definitely help you. If you like this video, don't forget to like, don't forget to share with your friends. Also, don't forget to subscribe for new videos every single Wednesday. You can also go on my website, AlexandraVillarroel.com, to subscribe to my email list, and feel free to send me a message if you need any help, if you need some support. I'll be here to help you, even though I'm not a professional in this really, but I'm still going to be here to help you as a woman and as a friend really. My name is Alexandra Villarroel Abrego, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye.